Hi, my name is Andrew Mogenberg, and I'm going to be talking to you about a responsive recipe web application I built for my UI design bootcamp with Career Foundry. So I was given a brief to design a responsive recipe web application that meets the needs of its users and solves problems that they are facing with existing recipe applications. So initially starting out with the project, I decided to choose this because I myself am an avid lover of cooking. I really enjoy learning new things and trying new cuisines, and so I thought this challenge would be both exciting and fulfilling. So I proceeded to do some competitive analysis of existing recipe web applications, things like All Recipes, Epicurious, as well as Tasty, sites like that, and I found that I think I could gain a competitive advantage through the use of images and visual descriptors to really set myself apart from the competition. I think that would really help users get a visual clarity toward what they're creating, ease up a lot of frustration or maybe confusion when creating something new and potentially confusing. So once I had this idea for the project, I began to do some user research. I asked myself questions like, who will I be designing for? What kinds of tasks and goals will they be trying to accomplish? When will they be using the application? Um, where will they be using the application, of course, and then why? And these kinds of questions really helped me focus in on what my application is looking to achieve. It gave me really valuable insights into the individuals that will be using it, what their goals are, what their needs are, what their requirements are. So once I had this user research completed, I moved on to creating user personas, and this just really helped me focus in on the type of individual that will be using my application. This allowed me to, yeah, really just put all of these questions and everything that I asked myself in the user research into, more of a visual descriptor, more of a cohesive idea of who will be using this application. So once I had these user personas made, I began to create some user flows and diagrams. And these really helped me map out the tasks and goals as well as the pages of my application. Having all of these things mapped out was really valuable. It allows you to really just um, making sure you have all of your tasks and needs accounted for in your application, and it gives it a structure of how your users will be accomplishing the tasks on your application. So I found this to be very important and a great way to really just visualize the flow that they're going to take and make sure that no step would be left out. From there, I began to do some exploratory sketching and rapid prototyping. I began to draw out different layouts and elements for each of my pages that I would be required to have. And this was a really great way to compare and contrast different design ideas, different layout options. And yeah, it was a really quick way to kind of get an idea of what works and what doesn't, what I want my application to look like. And so I found this step of the process to be very valuable. Once I had some sketches that I was very focused in on or very confident in, I began to do some rapid prototyping. I had individuals give me feedback on uh, the sketch prototypes I had here through an app called Envision. So they were able to click through and kind of get an idea of what worked for them, and they gave me a lot of really great, valuable feedback. What worked, what didn't, what they liked, what they didn't like, and this also gave me a lot of insight and a lot of uh, information to use towards creating a better application. From there, I began to create a mood board, and this really helped focus the visual identity and direction of my project. It really allowed me to get an idea of what I want my app to look like, how I want it to feel, and I decided to go with a cheerful, fun, kind of colorful application, really inviting, that's going to really appeal to a lot of people. And so through this mood board, I was able to get a really good idea and insight into what kind of color, what kind of typography, UI element, as well as copy style that I wanted to use in my application. After the mood board, I began to create some wireframes and prototypes, and you can see here I have some really low fidelity wireframes here that really just served as kind of the architecture of my application. How I want elements to kind of be placed, what elements I need on each page, what's a requirement, um, And yeah, this really served as, yeah, just a great blueprint for what I want my application to, or how I want my application to look. After I had my wireframe, my low fidelity wireframes, I moved on to creating a style guide, and the style guide was very important towards creating a clear concept for my visual identity, as well as a great reference point for these design choices I have made. So I have things in here like color palette, typography, as well as some UI elements, imagery, as well as copy guidelines. And this was really valuable to me as a reference for what design decisions I had made. It really helped keep a consistent feel, as well as really make a lot of decision making easier as well. So the style guide really went a long way toward improving my workflow. Once I had all of these things in place, I finalized my um, responsive design mockups here. So I have different responsive screen size breakpoints where I have, pixel perfect high fidelity mockups of my application. And these are just a great way of finishing the project, getting a very good visual um, idea of what this application would look like once coding is finished. And yeah, it was a very valuable experience creating these high fidelity mockups. And yeah, it was a great way to finalize my project and complete Deliciousness, the application. Thanks for listening.